someone texted me and said, oh my goodness, Andrew Tate's reposted your video onto his Twitter account. And I was like, whoa. And I think that's when it went from being like, oh, haha, we don't really care what these people think, to like, actually, that's someone on the internet who's very dangerous. I am Rachel Wild. I'm the co-founder of TBH Skincare.
Jenna Pay got bring it back. Jenna Pay got bring it back. It's giving millennial core. It's giving millennial core. Women should go back to the kitchen.
It's a fun brand for acne-prone skin is probably the quickest way to describe it, but it's a non-conventional approach to the acne category, really. At TBH, we like to have fun with basically everything that we do, and we take that across to our approach in social media. We know a lot of our customers are on social media, that's where they're active, so we like to meet them where they're at. And so it's very common for us to just grab the phone and film like a silly fun trend in the office. There was a trend going around, it was called, I think it was like cowboy boots and a slick back bun was the original one, and we just all stood around in a circle and chanted random things about what we were wearing, or anyway, and it started with Gen Z boss in a mini, which was me, in a mini skirt. And for some reason, like, it went onto TikTok and went quite viral. And whenever you go viral, you get some level of commentary that's like, this is cringe or whatever it is, but that doesn't bother us so much. It was when it got actually pulled off TikTok and reposted onto Twitter that it like went mega viral. I'm talking like 140 million views. So it was like worldwide. It went all mainly across the US actually. And yeah, I think just ended up on the wrong side of the internet, and just in a group with a group of people that just weren't our customer base. Like, we didn't care about what this group of people thought. Originally, the commentary that was coming through, like, it was heavily misogynistic, but it was so outlandish in a way that we thought it was almost humorous. And so we actually filmed a clapback video using the commentary on Twitter in the chant. So it was like, women should go back to the kitchen and all this stuff. And we just thought, like, we thought it was laugh. But that was on the Friday, and then on the Sunday, I was actually away for my husband's 30th birthday, and I was sitting in a pub, and someone texted me and said, oh my goodness, Andrew Tate's reposted your video onto his Twitter account. And I was like, whoa. And I think that's when it went from being like, oh, haha, we don't really care what these people think, to like, actually, that's someone on the internet who's very dangerous, and he's got an entire following of people who basically got sent our way that we didn't really want to have anything to do with. So it was a really good wake-up call to just what happens when you do go viral, and the fact that your video can be taken completely out of context and reposted on another platform. After that, we saw an increase in sort of the misogynistic commentary directly on our pages. So people were coming to our Instagram pages, our DMs, like everything. And it became like, okay, we need to make sure that the staff are protected in that scenario. Unfortunately, we also were receiving like threats in the customer service channels and stuff. We eventually brought in EAP counselors so that we could all like have like a third party to chat to. We ended up taking the video down just to like, the original. Yeah, just to halt the momentum almost on it, but the media were picking it up every 5 seconds. So I was waking up every single morning to like a barrage of media inquiries coming from the US, and it was tough because you know, I was having to show up externally for the media whilst also being a subject of the video, whilst also trying to manage the team. So it was like a lot to juggle during that time. But look, we had a lot of media publications in Australia really support us and come to bat for us. And our community doubled down tenfold in terms of, like, for every negative comment, there was like 5 really positive ones that were supporting us. And in a way, our community rallied and actually brought everyone who we cared about, being our customers, like closer in our community in a way. We pushed back against the fact that we were being criticised literally just for being our full selves in the office. We like to put people in boxes and say, well, yeah, if you love watching reality TV and you want to film a fun, silly TikTok trend and wear a pink suit, that, you know, like you're classed in a certain way means that you know, somewhat can't be intelligent or really good at your job. And it's like, why is that true? It's just like, I think there's a big conversation to be had there about, yeah, how we are able to show up as our full selves as young females, especially in the workplace. Yeah, and I think it was the community. Like, I think nothing unites a community like a common enemy, you know, like it's something to fight for. And so our community like engagement was huge. We had a massive increase in following. We had way more eyeballs on the brand, more traffic to the website, and then that always converts to more sales. So ultimately it was a good thing for the brand. But, you know, my whole focus at the time was like, is everyone okay? And that was definitely secondary. I think with the way that we spun it in the media, my drive for that and to see that turn into the narrative that it should be in terms of this conversation around women in the workforce and addressing that publicly, I felt the need to do that for my staff more than the business. And I think that at the end of the week, they felt that win. And it made them proud. Whereas I feel like at the beginning of the week, they felt like unsure and almost like they had done something wrong, you know? And it was like, should we be like, you know, it was like, I think all the commentary had gotten to them. And it was like so important for me to make sure that they felt that support from the media and the community and everything else, and to turn that into like this momentum was, I think, more for the staff than for the business. I think everyone went through a different timeline of emotions. There was like different people in that video who like were quite unfazed, but then at some points were like, whoa, grasped, I think, like the magnitude of what was happening online. And so everyone was going through that process at a different time. Like some people were, you know, like on the Monday, other people were more delayed. And so it was just making sure that whenever people needed support, they had access to it. And look, I think the team dealt with it really, really well. We had a huge like reflection on the whole situation, maybe like 6 weeks after it happened, and everyone looked back on it and was like, you know what, we'd actually even lean in harder next time, because we've realized like we can be brave and like we came out fine, and we'd probably be even braver next time. So it was kind of like a nice exercise where I think they all had to go through that, and it was tough, but I think everyone did feel supported. I think it was also just good in terms of understanding what can happen when you're posting on social media. And, you know, they did nothing wrong. Like no one did anything wrong, and it didn't warrant the commentary that it got. But unfortunately, that's the risk you run when you post on the internet. So it was good for us to understand, you know, how else can we better support the staff? What do they need from us? We've had a lot of conversations with them following, and I think it's been really great for us, like as a team. I think was just running on adrenaline. Like I didn't know what was coming. The way the media works, obviously, is like it's a 24-hour cycle, and I was waiting for us to be old news, and we just weren't. So it lasted sort of the whole week with a lot of public media inquiries. And then obviously, like I said, the team was transitioning through these emotions at different times. So it was, you know, making sure that I was always there to like daily check in on how everyone was going. But then obviously I was also experiencing that firsthand. So I had to almost put that on the back burner just to survive the week. Yeah. And I remember getting to the Friday and it was like we'd survived the week. The media story had turned really positive. Our community had come to rally with us. The staff had been sort of supported through their emotions. And then it was like, as the week came to the close, it like hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I was like holding it together. And then I was like, whoa, like I just felt like just such a weight on me from the whole week. But honestly, I have very supportive like husband. I've got great friends, great family, and I had access to the same support that the staff did as well. So at the end of the day, I had like all the support networks there to rally, and so many people from across my entire career basically reached out to me, so many males as well, sort of saying like, you know, we've worked with you before, like don't take this to heart, like we know how talented you are, how great you are. And I had so many people come to support, which was so nice, definitely got me through. Continue showing up as your full selves and prove to people that you can be both. You can be both silly and goofy and obsessed with reality TV. Men love to watch males run around a pitch and kick a leather ball. You know, they come to work, they talk about that openly, and it's a great way that they bond. If that's the same for females in reality TV or whatever their interests are, maybe it is sport. It's so important to be able to find a workplace. You spend over 40 hours there a week usually. You have to be able to show up as your full self and not have to feel like you mask a certain part of your identity to make yourself appear smarter. And I would say do it for the females sitting next to you. You know, like push back, because you're then making way for the next person who comes around. You're going to change someone else's mind who will then see it differently next time for the next young female that they deal with in the workplace. Female entrepreneurs are often looking for capital at some point in their journey, and there's a stat that says I think it's 2% of all capital is, you know, sort of given to women founded businesses, and a lot of the time you're dealing with private equity or VC funds that are heavily male led, and they hold the purse strings, and a lot of the time they're investing in businesses that they personally can relate to or they personally can understand the success of, which actually makes total sense when you look at sort of consumer psychology, because they're the customers at the end of the day too. So what they're choosing to invest in, they sort of will almost want to be able to relate to how they see that working. And so I think it's really hard when you're a female entrepreneur and you're particularly in a female centered space like beauty or wellness that's, you know, with a particular female focus, because your investors are often going to be male. It's again though, just showing up, don't diminish your size of your space, stand in your power, know that you're worthy, that a lot of female businesses are super successful. I look at the spending power of females, I'm like the female customer in a consumer goods industry, especially, like that's who's spending the money. So just know that if you can create a business that's serving a particular need in the market, you're going to win. And I think it's so hard to block out the noise sometimes, but I think you have to find a way to find that like inner motivation and inner validation and not look for it externally. It sounds so easy, but it's really hard to do. I think finding female mentors and having a network of females, I've got such a good female founder community that I lean on all the time, I think is amazing. And I think there's plenty of female entrepreneurs out there that are so successful that you could definitely reach out to and get inspiration from and follow online. So I'd say surround yourself with the right people, and then the rest, they're not your people, ignore them. Yeah. I feel like every day in the business I learn so much about myself. I don't think there's anything that you could do like starting a business that's going to make you face up to the mirror and see exactly who you are and get to know yourself really, really well. Like I think you learn a lot personally about who you are and how you show up, and especially when you're leading a team. But I think that whole saga probably taught me that I've got a lot more resilience than I realized. So I think just that I'm like capable of coping, and like things may go wrong, but I will be okay, and like it will all be fine. Oh, I'm just so excited that customers can actually find it in store, and also that they can get it delivered locally, because we've got a partner here who fulfills it locally. It's the same as it was in Australia, where you look at the category and it's missing this innovation, this product and this formula, and the patent is nowhere globally. So, you know, it was first to market in Australia, it'll be first to market in New Zealand. It gives the customer access to a brand that makes them feel like they're celebrated, that they're not ashamed to be using these acne products, that they can actually be using that and feel like, oh yeah, like I've got a cool product but it's still working for my skin, and I can still trust that it's going to do the right thing whilst not being super harsh. So I think I'm just excited that the New Zealand customers will have hopefully a really positive, happy space to shop their acne prone skincare in. Hopefully they fall in love with it and it works amazingly for them too.